Hey, all my fantasy football friends. Welcome to the Multiple First Dynasty Football channel here on YouTube. This is Tony and my boy Greg coming back at you with some new content. We're coming here with a recap of Week 2 games and some player comparisons, some good stuff on the show today. So, how you feeling today, Greg, brother?
Oh, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. I missed talking to you about the league, but here we are. We got football. We got our 24/7 league that we're co-owning in, and we got lots of good names to talk about. So, how are you doing, Tony? After your Browns lost one of the most tragic endings I've seen in recent memory. You holding up okay?
Not good. Not good, Greg. It's it's a sad time. If you guys can see in my video here, I got the Cleveland Browns banner hanging upside down right now as a sign of shame. Yeah, that was just so pathetic what happened there. Giving up an 85-yard touchdown, 80-yard touchdown to Corey Davis, and then just a 2-minute just decimation drive courtesy of Joe Flacco, who is what, like 36 now or something. Just gross. And they had a chance to be 2-0 with their current quarterback situation. That was just such an incredible opportunity to have squandered. Myles Garrett played a great game. The defense has been playing great. Other than that complete collapse at the end, yeah, I just so sad. The only highlight of that game was I got to see Garret Wilson, my Buckeye. I got to see him break out, have a breakout performance. But otherwise, just crummy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
that was a rough one. That was a rough one. I got to tell you, lost in everything. Obviously, the Corey Davis play is getting all the attention, and Nick Chubb could have gone down. But man, you just got to get your onside kicks.
Yeah.
Right. If you get your onside kick, none of the rest of that matters.
They put up a stat that was like onside kicks in general are only like 15% effective in the NFL, and I wanted to see what that number is just against the Browns lifetime, because I bet it's like 50-50. Onside kicks against the Browns they feel like they happen pretty regular. I don't know, maybe it's just confirmation bias, but
it probably is that. But yeah,
how did
maybe a few more than average? Yeah.
How did you feel about your Denver Broncos? I know they had a rough week 1, week 2 went a little better, but
it's been a rough start to the Russell Wilson era. Look, that was not fun. Neither game. I did not feel like winning this week. I'll tell you that. But I mean, they've been in some ways very good. They like their yards per carry is terrific. Their yards per play is excellent. Their defense has looked tremendous, really. There are two teams in the league, according to PFF, that are in the top 10 in expected points added per play on offense and on defense. And that's the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Right. So Broncos have been quite good in some ways. They've had 25 accepted penalties in 2 games. That's a pace for 213 penalties this year.
That's a lot.
The league leader last year was 127.
Jeez. Yeah, almost double.
Yeah. The second most in the league so far is 18. Right. They have 6 false starts. There are 8 teams with less than 6 penalties. Mm-hmm. I mean, like it's absolutely ridiculous. And they're the first team in 22 years to score 0 touchdowns on the first 5 trips inside the 5-yard line.
That's a proud stat. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Right. They're also the first team since the strike season in 1987 to lose 2 fumbles inside the 1-yard line in the same game.
Okay.
Right. So, they've also recovered 1 of 7 fumbles by either team in their games, right? Which is, those usually get to 50-50 by the end of the year. Like that's a true luck stat, right? So they're kind of snake bit, but also the penalties are absurd. They've been pretty good per play. Cortland Sutton is going to have a great season. I'm rocking my jersey for the record. The coach has got to get his jitters out. We'll see. But I think it's a really good team in a lot of ways. They dodged some bullets this week. It looks like Judy and Surtain are both day to day, whereas both of those look like potential broken shoulders or something. So, if they can get a little healthier, I think they still have the potential to be one of the best teams in the league.
I think so. I mean, anytime you have Russell Wilson, you're in every game, and then it's what do you have around him to see how far you can take you? It's kind of my look at it from the outside. Any other like games this week or players or like last 2 weeks really that have stood out to you, or like what's been your big takeaways from the first couple weeks of the season?
All right, so I've got kind of one football observation and one dynasty observation here.
Yeah.
So my football observation from the first 2 weeks is that the NFC is garbage.
Oh yeah,
trash.
Yep.
Like the Rams, I think are the best of the bunch, but the Bucks are in so much difficulty right now. The Packers, I don't know what they did with their wide receivers. Like it's just so strange. The Cardinals, if you box score watched, it might look like this, that ending of that Cardinal game was promising, but my gosh, that like the Broncos, they did not look good in getting a win.
Yep.
They were down 20-0 at halftime. They had a delay of game on a 2-point conversion to tie. That team is in shambles. The Cowboys, kind of think the Eagles are a real contender in the NFC. So that would be kind of my NFC is in shambles. Rams, the best of the bunch. Eagles, a real contender.
Boy, I watched that Monday Night Football game last night, and the Eagles looked so good. That offense with Jalen Hurts was just humming along. And, boy, A.J. Brown has taken that offense. And Jalen Hurts' natural progression, both of those two things, they have just ascended into, like, some elite offensive territory. I mean, you're talking that Bills, Chiefs, Rams type of offense that you want fantasy pieces of, and they're going to be hard to deal with in every game in terms of real games.
Yes, and the Dak Prescott injury gives them an opportunity to maybe run away with the division and get some things right. There's a lot to like about the Eagles this year. So I think they're as good a second choice behind the Rams for in the NFC as there is right now.
Did you get a chance to watch any of that Dolphins-Ravens game, or like see highlights from that?
Yeah, that was something. That was a crazy game.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, that was nuts. And then I had a dynasty observation, which is follow the draft capital. Right, we talked about this a lot during draft season, but like let's look at this. 6 wide receivers were drafted in the top 20 picks this year. Jameson Williams hasn't played. Drake London, Garret Wilson are already breaking out.
Yep.
Chris Olave had 300 air yards this week.
Did he really? Wow.
He hit 13 targets.
Yeah, I saw the targets.
300 air yards.
Yeah.
He just didn't quite get there, but he still had 5 catches and 80 yards, right? Like, Jahan Dotson has 3 touchdowns in 2 games. Treylon Burks appears to already be the clear number 1 over there. He's not ready yet, but he's going to lead them in targets. Every single guy except Jameson Williams has been great. Jameson Williams is going to come back into a great situation.
Yep.
Now, let's look at all the guys who didn't go in the top 20 picks. Sky Moore,
rough.
Donut.
You got to be scared for Sky Moore right now if you're one of his owners. That's not feeling good.
Yes.
Sorry.
George Pickens. I'm not terrified. We knew he was kind of buried on the depth chart, right? He's getting a lot of snaps, but he's not going to contribute for a while. Mm-hmm. Christian Watson. Gosh, Wandale's missing time. David Bell. Hey, your guy.
Yeah,
We
he
thought
was hurt. He played though, right? Yeah, he wasn't on the field very much. Yeah.
nope. Jalen Tolbert's a healthy scratch with Michael Gallup and James Washington out.
That's insane. That came out of nowhere. I don't really understand that. What happened there? Like he was what, a third or fourth round pick, Tolbert?
He was a third round pick. He was a third round pick. Bell, Velus Jones, Danny Gray. Those are all the third round wide receivers. Alec Pierce has obviously, he got concussed. What are you going to do? But so he has no catches through 2 weeks. Obviously, John Mechie, terribly unfortunate with cancer.
Yeah.
But there's zero production from Christian Watson down through all the way until you get to Kyle Phillips in the 5th round. Right? There's no production at all from these guys. The draft capital guys are in your lineup right now, and every single one of them looks like a hit, right? So that just goes to the value of those first round picks, right? This could be this year that everybody was maligning all last season. Oh, yeah, trade any 2022 first for a 2023 first, straight up, sight unseen. You know what I mean? Look at these guys. You want Drake London. You want Garret Wilson. You want Chris Olave. You can go get a 23 first and something for these guys right now.
I think you can. Yeah, especially after Wilson's game. I mean, Wilson's going to be Wilson, Dotson, London, Olave. All 4 of those guys are pretty much locked in starters on pretty much any fantasy roster, like in Dynasty, the 3 wide receiver leagues and stuff. If you have one of those guys, you're playing them. Burks, I mean, maybe you're going to wait on him till he pops a little more, but
he's at least a matchup flex for you right now.
Totally.
Deeply. Yep. Yeah. And Jameson Williams, you probably have to expect to get into your lineups regularly by the end of the season. And I don't feel good about the long-term future of any of those guys. Wan'Dale Robinson might fall into some opportunity if he gets healthy, but man, follow the draft capital. That's my observation. What are your observations, either fantasy wise or football fan wise, from the first 2 weeks?
Well, my big takeaway, first of all, is they were pretty much correct about the running back situation in the class that came out. I mean, we're talking about wide receivers that have popped. I mean, all of the rookie running backs have been useless. I mean, Breece Hall's been, slightly startable. He had that receiving touchdown this past week, but Walker, nothing. James Cook was negative. Dameon Pierce has been bad.
Listen, I saw every snap of the Broncos Texans game, and I'm in it on Dameon Pierceville starting next week. Watch out.
Okay.
He had a little juice. He had a little juice, and they're going to give him the ball. Just a heads up. He changed my mind after a very panicky week 1.
I mean, moving forward, he's the one I like the most. But Isaiah Spiller, a healthy scratch. Rashad White has done. What has he had? 2 or 3 touches only so far. 10 total touches. That's it. Tyrion Davis-Price is hurt. Brian Robinson. We know what happened to him. Algier got some touches this week. He's starting to get involved, but the rookie RBs have been. If you were banking on anything from any of these guys early on in the year, you've been hurting. That's for sure. James Cook is the biggest disappointment, I think. So far.
For sure.
Yeah.
Brian Robinson, I pick him up in your redrafts right now. Pick him up right now. I do believe he will be active week 5.
Yeah.
And I believe he will be the starting running back by week 6 or 7. And that looks like a high volume offense. I think he's going to be the battering ram who gets all the interior work, the red zone work, right? So Brian Robinson is my pick there. But again, nobody liked Brian Robinson. So, so he wasn't one of the sexy picks who everybody was going after. So, Dameon Pierce was a day 3 pick. So the running back class has really been weak. You're absolutely correct.
So, all right, guys. So we wanted to play a little game on the show today. We got a couple little things we want to talk about. So we're going to do, some who you got. I got some couple different players here that are very comparable, same position type guys. And I just want to know, A or B, who you got, and this is the Dynasty edition. So who do you have for Dynasty? You got to own this man or this other man for the rest of their career. But I'm going to give you the first question right now, Mr. Velociraptor. Who do
Okay.
you got on your Dynasty roster? I'll give you one or the other, Saquon Barkley or Najee Harris.
Najee Harris.
Defend yourself. Yeah.
Saquon's in his fourth year. Najee's in his second year.
They're both about the same age. Najee's an old second-year player.
It doesn't. I mean, but the contract, right? Like the contract. I feel like we're gonna, they're gonna lock into Najee. I'm gonna be able to move Najee for other things next year. I think there's just a lot of risk to Saquon right now. I like them both. I just think Najee is a very, very safe dynasty asset, and like the things that are scaring people about Najee over the last 2 weeks are just too short term to worry about his long term value. Right? Like just remember where he was in startups this offseason. It's 2 weeks. Don't worry about it.
All right. That question came to mind because I actually received an offer in a league where I own Saquon. Someone sent me Najee straight up, and I haven't made a decision on it yet. So I wanted to kind of pick your brain on it.
Look, if you're contending right now, Saquon...
I am a contender, yeah.
Saquon is better for that, right? So like there's some context-specific stuff there. I'm, if you're thinking like real short-term, there's the issue of Najee's foot, but I just think that is a good opportunity to get into a very safe asset that you will be able to definitely turn around into something you like anytime you want for the next 2 years. Whereas Saquon is a bad 6 weeks away from not having any value, right? Like, how fast could his value go Zeke word after, the teasing us and all that other stuff? I don't know. Oh, by the way, also the Giants stink.
The Giants stink? You mean the 2-0 Giants stink? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So like that doesn't help.
Giants have been one of my favorite stories so far. I'm excited to see this Monday night game, them against Dallas. I'm really jonesing for that game. Really that's going to be sweet. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to give you a pair of running backs. Who you got? Cam Akers, James Robinson.
Cam Akers or James Robinson? Boy, howdy. Oh, man. The two ruptured Achilles boys, huh? Right against each other. Yeah.
That's right.
Man, my heart says Robinson, and my head also says Robinson. I got to go off what the players have done, recently, like this season, and Robinson's looked great. Offensive schemes or whatever quality of offense be damned. It's I want the guy who's looked better on the field, and so far that's been Robinson. I would take Robinson over Akers. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. Yes. Yeah. And also the guy, I mean, they both coming off the same terrible injury, so the guy who's looked healthier since gives me a lot more feeling of safety. All right, you're up next. Give me another position.
We got rookie receivers for your dynasty roster. After 2 games, you got to make a decision. Do you want Drake London or Garret Wilson? It's kind of tough. You kind of go back to your own rankings. I don't know if enough
I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Drake London, and I don't like it because my eye test says Garret Wilson.
Yeah.
But I think Drake London has an easier path to dominating his team's targets. I think Elijah Moore remains a really good player, and there remains a decent chance that and Breece Hall. Like I feel like the Jets could end up splitting up stuff more than Drake London could get a lot of work. My eye test really says Garret Wilson, but I'm going to say Drake London.
Wilson looks so dang good on the field. I can honestly say I haven't watched much of the Falcons. Just busy schedules in life. So I can't really speak to how London's looked. I mean, the stat sheet is fine. Boy, Wilson looked so dang good against the Browns that I had to throw him out there in a comparison.
Yeah.
I'd probably take Wilson, but only because of that homerness. They're right next to each other.
It's super close, super close. I just think the weakness around London, and just sort of also maybe the physical freakiness, where like maybe there's the Calvin Johnson knee upside a little bit. You know what I mean? The wide receiver 101 upside maybe a little bit better because of the sort of the classic downfield X profile. I don't know.
Sure.
So close. All right. I'm gonna give you two wide receivers.
Love it.
Christian Kirk or Keenan Allen.
Christian Kirk or Keenan Allen for my dynasty roster. Oh man, it's like longevity versus youth type stuff right there. Boy howdy, that's hard. Keenan's hurt, man. Keenan's been hurting. Let me. I love Trevor Lawrence. Give me Christian Kirk. Oh boy, I can't believe I just said that. Yeah, give me Kirk. For my dynasty roster, I'll take the. I don't know. Keenan's got what, a year or two of high production left, maybe. How old is Allen? Is he 31 now?
I think so.
I don't even know, man. I gotta look him up.
Mm-hmm. I think that's right. 30, 31, yeah. 30.
But, Keenan, he's...
Kirk, what's
Kirk? I think Kirk's 25.
26?
He might be 26. He's 25 right now, listed. It's a tough decision, though. It's certainly close. I think Greg froze up on us.
But because of the volume that Kirk is getting right now, you may not actually get a huge point difference between them, right? Like this, Kirk may get so many targets that he has a top 18 season. At which point you may as well just have the youth.
Yeah. True. Keenan definitely feels safer still, for sure, even with the injuries. I mean, when you're talking about Justin Herbert and Keenan's body of work, like Kirk.
I feel so excited about Christian Kirk though.
I have him
those were my two guys this offseason were Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk. I loved that pair.
Yeah,
it was a good pair. I got them in a lot of best ball leagues. All right, give me another position.
All right, we got tight ends for your dynasty roster. We got a couple guys. I know one of them is real close to your heart. Do you want Pat Freiermuth or do you want T.J. Hockenson?
Oh, I want Pat Freiermuth.
You want Muth over Hawk?
Oh yeah, we're done. My turn.
Yeah.
Do you want Pat Freiermuth or do you want Kyle Pitts?
Oh boy, Pitts. I'll take Pitts. Yeah, I'll still take his absurd athletic profile, even though it's been rocky start though for Pitts this year.
I feel really good about Pat Freiermuth right now.
I feel great about him too. Yeah,
I think he looks really safe and like an actual NFL tight end, and we'll see what Kyle Pitts can put together. All right, do you have quarterbacks?
I don't. No. We can move on.
No, I do.
What do you got? Throw them at me.
All right. Who you got for your dynasty roster?
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett or Trey Lance?
What? Stop. I want Trey Lance, man. I'm taking Trey Lance. I don't care about the injury. Lance might not. They both might take the field again at the same time. I don't know. Trubisky's look rough. But
Kenny Pickett's going to be the quarterback there in 2 weeks, man.
I think so. Yeah, Trubisky's... Yeah, that was something I wanted to talk about. Trubisky's going to get yanked here soon, I think.
I don't think is Trey Lance ever going to start a game for San Francisco again?
Why? Like, Jimmy G's contract is up, right? I mean, this kind of segues into him just being...
Are they going to... Yeah, but okay. So I think you just call it a bust. Don't pick up his 5th-year option and get a new quarterback.
Well, he's only going to be entering his 3rd year, so you don't even have to make a decision on the 5th year.
No, that's what I
He's entering
mean.
his
But like,
fourth.
I think you just okay. He's not our guy. Like, okay,
What do
because
you do with Garoppolo? Do you re-sign?
here,
Do you franchise tag Garoppolo, or what
if he's
happens?
great,
Yeah.
but like, so here's my thing with Trey Lance. Right? He was not ready, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to go into year 3 not a bit more ready.
Yeah.
And less healthy.
Uh,
I just, and maybe with some lost explosion for a guy who is not a pocket passer. I'm not waiting around does Kyle Shanahan have a reputation for waiting around on guys because of the draft capital?
No.
Okay. I just no.
Yeah.
I'm taking Kenny Pickett in this one. Right?
Okay.
I don't think he's I would say the most likely scenario is their week 1 starter next year is not on the team right now.
Really?
Yep.
That's fair. That's fair to say that. Do they draft someone though? Is the question. That
I doubt it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe, but maybe there's guys have Carson Wentz would have looked real good over there last offseason, and now everybody oh hey look, Jared Goff can be reclaimed.
Tom Brady's just in the last year of his contract. He could go sign there if he wanted to.
Ryan Tannehill is free, right? Is he better than Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't know. Maybe not. But is he better than Trey Lance? Yes. If the bridges are burned with Jimmy Garoppolo, there's another option who is an NFL starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And Trey Lance looked terrible. He looked terrible in the preseason. He looked terrible last week. And he's not going to get any better.
There's a little bit of spin that it's not terrible for Lance, being able to have another year, another off season of learning and development and growth as a person, as a football player. I mean, I don't know. I would take Lance over Pickett still. I want that upside. I want the 49ers starting quarterback. I think Trey Lance, I think Trey Lance is the 49ers starting quarterback to begin week 1 of 23. That's my stance right now until I see more. So with that in mind, I would definitely take Lance over Pickett.
Trey Lance and 4 firsts for Lamar Jackson on the franchise tag.
Trade 4 firsts.
I don't know. Trey Lance and 3 firsts for Lamar Jackson on the franchise tag after they don't get it done in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he's. I don't know. All right. Moving on. That was who you got.
Who you got? All right, we buying and selling now?
Let's do some buying and selling.
Buying and selling. All right, so Greg and I each have prepared some buy highs, some sell lows, or some sell highs, some buy lows, some sell highs, and some buy high. Right. So those are the 3.
Yeah.
Let me kick
all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to start. All right. So my buy low option right now is I got 2 of them. They're both receivers. And honestly, I got 10 different names I think you could buy right now that are
okay.
But dudes that jump out to me as buy lows are Juju after the game this week. I mean, he's still Juju Smith-Schuster, and he played 90% of the snaps. Or it was 65% and then 75%. So he's still on the field a lot. He's still going to be involved a lot. Mahomes looked just as good as ever. I think Juju's still going to have occasional flaky games like we've seen, but I anticipate some dominating performances coming up from Juju. And if you could get him at his current KTC rank of the wide receiver 26 or something like that, that's something you should pursue. And then a little lower down the list, I think you should be out there buying Josh Palmer. I mean, these are 2 drums that I've been banging since the offseason, but Palmer had 91% snap share in the game Keenan didn't play, and he's got 12 Justin Herbert targets so far in the season. Yeah, Palmer could be a fantasy starter in your 3 wide receiver leagues for you, I think.
I got to tell you, I'm not into the Juju take.
Really? You love Juju.
I am kind of believing that Mahomes that it's going to be Kelsey is the only reliable. Mahomes has a great year, but Kelsey is the only other reliable option on an offense that spreads the ball way, way too much for fantasy managers. That is my belief.
You don't think Juju is going to differentiate himself from the other receivers?
Nope.
Okay.
I think I think they're still going to go downfield. I think they want MVS down the field. They have tried to get Hardman involved a bunch. I like maybe Juju comes up as the 2, but I think it's going to be a really spread affair.
Mm-hmm.
They've been using the second and third tight ends more than they used to. I mean, like I'm really. They told us we're going to move on from Tyreek and we're going to spread the ball around a lot more. Man, have they? Really so I'm just like believing what they tell me.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about Juju. I'm just kind of believing what they tell me. And so at the wide receiver 26 price, I'm more hold than buy.
Sure.
I really like the Josh Palmer name. That's a great short and long term buy. Maybe struggle in the medium term when Keenan Allen comes back. But like you can play him for as long as either of those first 2 guys is out, either Allen or Williams. And I do think he's being groomed to be a long-term wide receiver 2 for Justin Herbert, and you can have him at a reasonable price right now. I think that's a wonderful name.
Yeah, I mean, if you could send your 23 second across for Josh Palmer, would you do that? I don't know if
it depends how much would I do that right now? Yeah. No. Listen, if Keenan Allen tore a knee, I would do that right now. Yeah. Or like, if I was a contending team and the extra performance now was meaningful, then I would definitely consider that sending my 23 second. 23 seconds are going to be real valuable.
They're going to be hard.
I'd send a 24 second in a heartbeat.
Certainly, yeah. I love trading away 24s right now. Not because the class is looking bad, but just because like that 2 years of time. I mean, yeah, it leaves you a gap in your roster, but you got 2 years to figure that out. Like give me something now, here today, and I'll worry about 2 years.
You get picks in those rounds back too.
Yeah. You could tear down later on in life and sort it out. It's fine. So who are you buying, brother?
Well, I am buying Zach Wilson, who hadn't played a snap.
He's on my buy list too. Yeah.
Listen. I've heard a lot of people being like, "Oh, these Jets guys," but then, what if they bench Joe Flacco for Zach Wilson? Like it all gets worse or something. Like Joe Flacco is trash. Okay, Joe Flacco is trash.
Hey, he just beat the Browns.
Okay. Yeah, but you know what? Like maybe Garret Wilson and Elijah Moore and Breece Hall and Michael Carter and Corey Davis and Braxton Berrios and Tyler Conklin, CJ Uzama's coming back is actually a really, really excellent set of weapons with a really good young offensive line. Yep. And maybe they're just going to be a really good offense. Or like maybe they're going to be a turnkey offense for a young quarterback who's coming back off of an injury in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. I just like right now, if you can buy Zach Wilson in your Superflex leagues, please do that. That is my.
Yeah, Zach Wilson might be able to be had for one of them 23 seconds. I mean, maybe you got to send like your 23 and 24 both. Maybe.
Oh my gosh, I'm so in for that.
I'd do that. I'd do that in a heartbeat. I'd buy Zach Wilson.
Yes,
for that. Yeah.
And like, oh gosh, he's gonna because like as soon as he like if he starts, let's say week 5, by week 7. He could be worth 223 firsts. Like all he has to do is come in and have one day where he goes 280 and 4 because Wilson and Elijah Moore break 2 touchdowns each.
Yeah.
And like he's immediately, this is going to be the quarterback with these great young receivers for the next decade, and everybody wants him in your Superflex league. Like that, the ceiling is so big and immediate when he comes back. He could bust, but
his value on the various trade calculators, there's 3 or 4 of them that most of the community uses. Wilson's value is pretty much cratered in all of them. Like if you know someone uses a calculator, you could probably get Wilson off of them for a price you're happy with right now, for sure. Who were you selling? Who are you selling high on? Whose value's up that you don't believe in?
So I was a little bit sketchy on your Juju.
Maybe you're
and
selling
I'm
him.
selling.
That's fine.
I'm
Yeah.
selling high on. No, I'm selling high on Clyde
Ooh.
for the same reason.
I'll buy him off you. I'll take Clyde. I
I'm
want him.
selling high on Clyde
Yeah.
for the same reason.
All right.
He is still not getting goal line work
Okay.
for the most part. He has no goal line carry. He has no inside the 5 carries. Pacheco and McKinnon both do. He does have a target from an inside the 5 play, and he caught a touchdown. But like his usage is not. His usage says he's going to let you down.
Yeah.
His usage says he's going to disappoint you.
That's fair.
And the touchdowns are buoying him in a year when the running backs have not been great. So he's been good. He was like really good one week and good the other week, both times in a kind of touchdown dependent way.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not getting usage that tells me like that's real safe. So, and I think his value is kind of spiking right now. So
yeah, yep.
I do think you could find a depressed running back and then go CEH in a piece and pivot up in a way that could really make a difference for your season. I'm not really sure what the exact name of the depressed running back is, like Dalvin Cook.
Sure.
Right? Like CEH in a thing, and maybe maybe the Dalvin Cook owner is took a bad beat this week because Dalvin Cook had a bad week, right?
You might be able to swap him straight across on an owner who's not really paying attention. Yeah.
Right. So like that's my sell high. Who's yours?
Who's my sell high? My sell high is, I got it written down here. Sorry. Who did I write? Oh, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know there's a lot of people who love him, and I'm not trying to upset anyone, but I was looking at Amon-Ra on KTC. He is the wide receiver 10 right now in Dynasty, and that seems high for me. When you're talking about the various targets in the offense, that narrative's out there. Jameson coming back eventually, a potential quarterback shift, and that Detroit Lions uniform. I'm sorry, but it's a real thing. And until a Josh Allen comes along and can change a team's stripes for good, I don't necessarily have tremendous faith in Detroit Lions football players outside of DeAndre Swift. Amon-Ra has been awesome. He's probably going to continue to be very good, but if I can sell him to someone as a top 10 dynasty receiver, I probably will take whatever package they're offering me of a 23 first plus a player. I would jump on that opportunity to move Amon-Ra.
Interesting. I like that.
He's above CeeDee Lamb on the Dynasty, the KTC right now. He is way up there, and he's like a top 25 player, and seems high for me, man.
The Motor City Sun God, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right. So buy high. Who you got? Who are you willing to pay the freight for?
Yeah, this is okay. So this is kind of maybe a cop-out take. I don't know, because it's not someone who's ascending necessarily, but I would pay to get this player. CeeDee Lamb. His value's dropping, but he is a very expensive piece to acquire. But I feel like there's just so much hate around him, and there's all this negativity swirling. Sentiment is low on CeeDee Lamb, and it has been for a while. If you can catch one of his owners, feeling down, or give them a package with a Clyde in it or something that's got a nice front-loaded piece, I want CeeDee Lamb. Dak will be back eventually. CeeDee is an incredible talent, and just talent. He's insane talent, and he's had 12 targets. He's had 11 targets in each of the first 2 games. He's going to continue to be a major player in this offense. I would go acquire CeeDee Lamb if I could right now, on an owner that is feeling bad about him.
That is a great name.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a buy high. He might be buy low.
Yeah, because he's kind of descending right now. So I don't know if that's kind of in the theme.
That's a buy the dip. That's a buy the dip.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Here's a name I'm going to buy high on.
Yeah.
I'm willing to pay up for. Mm-hmm. I realize I'm paying the highest price I have ever had to pay for this player, and I am willing to pay it now. And that's Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Monday night game. Change your mind.
He has progressed as a player. to the point that they are not going to move on from him. And that's all I needed to know.
Yep.
Because from the moment he came in there, it was he's going to be good for fantasy as long as he keeps a job. But how long is he going to keep a job, right? And the answer is for several years.
Yeah.
And he's going to keep that job with those receivers for several years. And you will have to pay the freight. But if you can catch a guy trying to sell high on him, now is the time to just go. Now is the time to be like, okay, good. I will pay that. And I will lock up my QB1 for the next 4 years in my Superflex.
Yep. I love it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I think it's about time to switch over to our Dynasty roster. Yeah?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Greg and I, we mutually drafted a league together, and we've been managing it, talking about the starters for it and the waivers for it and such, off-season as a pair. So this is the team. It's in Dynasty 24/7 365 League, and I got the team brought up on the screen here. We're 0-2, unfortunately, right now. We do have 5 2023 first-round picks, so it's a productive struggle if ever there was one, and more on the struggle side than anything. But yeah, how you feeling about this roster?
So I think we are going to have to win like 2 of our next 3, or it's time to move a couple of pieces for big assets. I like the build. I mean, like, look, I think we got Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a monster. We've got Justin Fields, and I still believe that guy's got to throw some more passes, but I think he's a good player. I think he will become a good enough quarterback and a good fantasy asset. I think Saquon Barkley and Miles Sanders are both like trade candidates at some point if we're not going to contend. We got all these picks. We got all these rookie running backs for next year, right? Like, that's a way to go. I love Devonta Smith, Jahan Dotson, some of the pieces that we've got. I think Van Jefferson, Kyle Phillips was a great ad. I think Van Jefferson's going to be very useful coming back. But like, we haven't quite hit on enough pieces. I don't think to be a real contender. And like the Pittsburgh offense is a real problem.
Yeah, that's
and we've got both
down.
Claypool and Pickens. And I think that's like we can't quite get like. I don't think we're going to be a heavy contender, and I think it would behoove us to consider repositioning if we don't do some business in the next 2 weeks. How about that?
Yeah, we got another 0-2 team that we're playing next week. Stafford, Najee, he's got CD and Brees. This is a winnable game. Pittsburgh making a swap a quarterback would be so good for us. That could really, that would be a huge thing. Yeah, but I mean, I'd be willing to sell some pieces. The problem is, like, most of these, like, pretty much all these receivers we want for the long term. Saquon is maybe a sell if things go south.
Saquon is the piece.
What's that?
Sanders is a possible second piece. Saquon is the piece.
Those two could go if we really had to flush.
And the other thing is Saquon could be a monster haul if you sell him at the right time, off the right game, with the right buzz, right? Like,
do we ever go the other way with it, where we try to move one of these 23s that we have, maybe bring in a receiver?
Yes.
And that's kind of the other avenue that we could consider.
Yeah, I would be willing to move one of these picks for for a young wide receiver who was going to be move a 23 first for a young wide receiver who's going to be with you for 3-4 years. But I think we need to get closer to contention first, right? Like Justin Fields, we only have 2 quarterbacks. Like Justin Fields needs to be a not disaster.
We need to
for
win a
that.
couple games before we could make a move like that. And
Yes.
like supplant it or like support it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Who would be
Absolutely.
a receiver that we would send a 23 first straight across for? Is there anyone like Mike Williams maybe?
Yeah, I mean that
Cortland Sutton.
how about but how about also like Chris Olave, right?
Yeah,
like Treylon Burks, right? Like you go that route.
Gabe Davis, maybe he's probably acquirable for that price. Rashad Bateman.
Christian Kirk.
Who'd you rather, Bateman or Davis? You throw Kirk in
probably
there too.
Bateman.
Yeah.
Probably Bateman.
Yeah,
I like all those guys, but I mean, I think Bateman has more team commitment. I think Gabe Davis is going to have a bigger season. I think Bateman has more team commitment than Davis and more talent than Kirk.
Sure.
And he's younger than Kirk. But those three are all very close. I think they're in it. Okay, but like yes, you could look at the records and trade a contending first for a guy like that.
Yep.
But you have to win some games to support that. You have to get to a place where that means something. And that probably means Justin Fields needs to
take a step forward.
I mean, how about attempt 24 passes? How about that?
Yeah.
Let me start with that.
He's only got 28 on the season so far.
Yeah. Dalton Schultz is a potential sell.
Sure.
Joe Flacco.
I'd love to sell Flacco. It's just freaking impossible. I mean, who's going to buy him? It's super challenging. Like, you move Flacco in a third for a second. It's about as best you're going to get. And Greg's having a little connectivity issue. But we got the waiver wires to do in this league.
I think.
Yeah.
Let's look at this. So So the player that I was most interested in on the waiver wire this week. Oh, here, let me click over to my waiver list. It's Darrell Williams.
Yeah, we had him at one time.
Yeah, we did. And then my next two guys are Juwan Johnson and Mac Hollins.
Yep, Juwan was good for me too. Yeah, I'm pretty much right there. Mac Hollins, though, you talked about him.
Did you see his usage this week?
Oh, 8 targets. That's a lot.
He was, and Hunter Renfrow got concussed on the last play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So there's potentially like more snaps out there for him. It looks, I mean, and the thing about Mac Hollins that has always intrigued me is he's kind of a physical monster.
Yeah.
You could almost make him, look at the weight. You could almost make him a tight end. Like you could almost, a team could almost do that. Kind of like they have done with Juwan Johnson, but or like a Darren Waller. And so if he's a red zone weapon, I'm kind of interested in that piece. So why don't we put in bids on those 3 players? We have 1 free roster spot, right?
I think we have 2 right now. We got $157 with a fab. We
I don't
have
want
2 spots. We're not gonna spend it all. I'm just saying that's how much we got.
Yeah. Do you want to spend any, or do you want to just put $0 bids on any of these guys?
I usually, if I'm gonna put in a $0 bid on a player, I usually make it a $1 bid. That's just a general thing I do. I'd probably put like $2 on Darryl. I don't know. We could put a few dollars on Darryl. I mean, we could use him.
But I mean, Connor looks like he's going to play. But I mean,
yeah, this week. But like,
yeah, sure.
It's James Conner. I don't know. I probably put like $3 or $4 on Darryl. We'll call it 3. Let's see where that's at.
Right.
And then Jawan, I would definitely put 1 on him just so I could break out the people that are doing 0.
Well, but I just want to point out that we have, like, in order to get to this number, do we have any cuts we want to make here? Do we have any guys who we'd rather cut than?
Jawan
because
Jennings, was Prochet a healthy scratch, or was he hurt?
No, he was hurt, but I'm willing to cut him. Slayton.
I heard Galladay packed up his locker. Did you read about that?
Yeah.
I haven't cut him yet, but
Sermon
sucks. Yeah, Trey Sermon. What's up, big guy?
Because the one thing I want to notice is that like Van Jefferson is probably coming back next week. So like you don't want to be spending fab on guys who you're cutting on Thursday, right? Like Van Jefferson's probably going to be listed as questionable tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then our roster will lock.
Is
right?
Juwan Jennings playing ahead of Ray McLeod?
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
For sure.
Danny Gray hasn't really been on the field at all.
No.
Jennings is probably a hold. Probably the most. I don't know. Darius Slayton. He hasn't played at all.
No.
Probably the most likely cuts are like Slayton, Prochet, and Sermon. One of those three.
Yeah. I'm willing to let Prochet go, as much as I enjoy the player. But I actually think Darius Slayton. The thing about Darius Slayton is
we could let Darryl go because he's actually on the IR, and then we can move Prochet back into the injury spot. But I guess he comes back,
Oh, you mean Dameon Williams?
Dameon. I'm sorry. Yeah, we could cut Dameon.
No,
because he's actually on the IR.
No, but these guys are come healthy again tomorrow. These are just some of these guys were healthy scratches, and I think we just make the 2 adds, and I'm willing to cut Prochet. If I think we cut Prochet if maybe Disley too, one of those two. If we don't get some, if we need to free up the roster to make a move.
So yeah, I think outright, or you just what do you want?
I think I think just make the ads, the 3 waiver claims. I think that's good.
All right, so I'm going to do Darryl with no cut listed for $4. That's our number one. Then I'm going to do Juwan with no cut listed for $1. And Mac Hollins, do we like him more than Juwan? I'd put him in for $1 also.
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So
no, I think I don't. No, I think I don't. I think I like Juwan Johnson better, just because he gets the tight end tag, and there's
yeah. All right, I'm gonna bump
that's
the
just
Juwan
more
up
useful.
to $2.
Sure.
So we got 4 on Darryl, 2 on Juwan, and 1 on Mac. That's $7 of our 150.
Yeah. And if we get all of them and we end up one person over the roster, I'm willing to
only
cut
get 2.
Prochet.
We only got 2 spots, unless we want to cut Prochet right now.
No.
Do you like Prochet or Mac Hollins more?
I like.
I kind of like Mac Hollins more.
I think I like Mac Hollins more too.
All right, we should drop Prochet then.
But if we're doing that, do we want to throw him? He was out with a groin, actually. Is it Prochet or is it Sermon? No, I think I want to keep Sermon in that Philly backfield just in case.
He's just buried. He's so buried. He's on the practice squad. It remains to be seen if he's even the running back they would bring up. Don't they still have that Kennedy Brooks too? Where
he's not on the practice squad. He's a healthy scratch on the roster.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, cut Prochet. Is Prochet 3?
Prochet or Slayton would be one of those 2.
What about Disley?
Or Disley. Disley can go because we're going to add a tight end anyway. Disley.
Yeah, let's get rid of Disley.
Yeah, later.
He's the backup on a bat. He's Geno Smith's backup tight end.
All right. Disley's
Did I sell you on Disley's gone?
Sold it. He's already out. He's gone.
Geno Smith's backup tight end can
free.
go. Good. All right. What you got for me? You got anything else?
Oh boy, not much, man. Just looking forward to week 3. What jumps out at you at the week 3 slate? That's like any player matchups, any game matchups. How are your feelings on heading into week 3 right now? Any fantasy matchups you're looking forward to? Where you at?
Oh, I'm just getting my. I'm actually just getting my head around the week 3 starters. My process is like waivers, then starters.
Then look ahead, yeah.
So let's see. Thinking about some of my rosters, what I'm interested in. I won my league of record this week. My league of record redraft this week. Yeah. 102.18 to 102.16.
Oh boy, that's a nail biter.
Yeah. That's 1 passing yard.
Who was playing on Monday Night Football? that? Any players that impacted that?
It was all I needed Derrick Henry and Devonta Smith under 16.6.
Henry got shut down in the third quarter. Yeah.
Under 16.6, and they
Yeah.
went 16.5.
There you go.
And so that was fun. So I'm kind of off to a good start in that. That's my like old redraft that I've been playing in for 2 decades. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to see what the Bills backfield looks like in a game they don't blow people out in. And I think Bills Dolphins is kind of Bills Dolphins is kind of game of the week for me.
Sure.
I'm excited to see if Tua's for real, if that whole offense is going to be able to make a go of it against real competition. But I'm also excited to see what the Buffalo backfield rotation looks like when they're not up 3 scores in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And
like their honest rotation.
Yeah. Yes. They have not really told us. There's so much garbage in their usage patterns through 2 games because they just boat raced people. So I'm hoping we see somebody get push them a little bit.
Big matchup that's jumping out to me on the week 3 slate is, of course, anytime Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers happens, you got to watch that. That's going to be a 4:00 game, Bucks versus Packers. Really excited to see that. Brady without Mike Evans, Rodgers still figuring this out with these receivers. That one's going to be an exciting game for sure. Denver versus San Francisco, love it. As a late night game, gonna really enjoy watching that in the evening. And that Monday night game, man, the Giants and the Cowboys, the 2-0 Giants against a reeling Dallas Cowboys team. Let's see, man. Let's see what the Giants can do. I'm believing in Daniel Jones. He's got me by the heartstrings right now. I want to see it.
I gotta tell you, I kind of believe in Daniel Jones a little bit too.
He was on my buy list right below Zach Wilson. Daniel Jones was the next one.
Really?
Yeah, it was, man. I don't know, Dayball, man. You saw what he did for Josh Allen, and if that's real, if he could do half of that for Daniel Jones, then that would be a viable fantasy play in Superflex.
Nope, you're absolutely correct. That those are some great game picks. If I had another one, that I'm excited to see if Trevor Lawrence continues looking like he grows, going out to Los Angeles to see a good Charger defense.
That'll be a good game. Lawrence versus Herbert. Really?
Yeah. So I think that's another fun one. But I think those are some. Man, fire up your Kansas City DST in leagues that do that.
Because of Matt Ryan coming to town.
My gosh, yeah. Some teams look not good. Some teams look not good so far. Some teams look real good. Buffalo especially, and whole lot of middle. All right, man. Well, I think we've gone an hour, and we'll catch up with the listeners again next week.
Yeah, man. We'll be back in action. We'll be doing at least one show a week moving forward. At least, maybe we'll do some other stuff when we got time. But
absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in, friends. I really appreciate you if you stayed with us this whole time. Hope you learned some stuff. Hope you took away some valuable insight that you can use for your own fantasy sake. If you have any questions, starters, trades, whatever, if you just want to chit chat, you can hit me up, Stosh X on Sleeper. You can hit Greg up, Velociraptor on Sleeper, just spelled just how it sounds. Leave a comment, hit like, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, good night.